know, my few conversational points are going to be continuing on the theme. We started with a very concrete use case presented by CP, and I really like Dr. Narendra's viewpoint of kind of going back into why we did what we did. I'll just be continuing on that same theme, and I just have very few 4 points that I want to share over here for the benefit of all. And this is really about experience sharing. There are a lot of startups here who are looking, and companies that are looking at building new products in this space. So having been on this journey, we are an industrial IoT company, been around for a couple of years. We work with among the largest automobile manufacturers in India. We work with the largest pump manufacturer in India. We work with a township around enabling some aspects of what has been defined broadly as a smart city. And we also work actually very interestingly with an NGO that is working towards getting metrics for quality of power data across 1,000 villages in India. So, what I'm trying to present here is really more experience sharing, what it took us to kind of what we learned along the way in terms of trying to build these solutions and talk about the product itself. And hopefully that will be useful from a foreign perspective, right? So I want to start here. Cities have been bashed about a little bit. India lives in villages and all. I think cities are very special. Not to say that villages aren't. I wanted to make this point. I've inserted this literally 10 minutes before coming here because and I go back to there were a couple of economists around here, and I'll use one of them to make a point, right? Cities are important because interactions like this, right, which lead to serendipitous working together, drive innovation and humanity forward more than any other grouping of people and humans. So, I don't define a city in terms of, it could be 10 square kilometers a village, or it could be, but I think what we need to look at is finding ways in which we build great places for people to be at, right? And that is probably a more worthy goal when you talk of quality of life and what you talk, with respect to being in a particular place. So I want to highlight that and then move on to, there's been a lot of talk about what is smart city. There's no point in me regurgitating a lot of that. I think, and again, honestly, we were very confused even in times of walking through, trying to sell these kinds of things. What are we selling exactly, right? And out of a lot of that mental churn arised, we need to be very clear in terms of what we are doing, right? And define yourself based on what you are doing. And then, of course, it may have applicability to smart city, smart grid, whatever it is that you want to look at, right, in life. So we said, okay, what part of the smart city are we going to look at? What is it that is our core competence? What is it that we can really make a difference to? And that is what led to us really looking at sensors and sensor data as being the key end all and be all of our company. We said, it's time to start listening to sensors, trying to build systems that don't think just beyond the device, but look at sensor data and look at aggregating that, look at find every way possible of, unlocking sensor data in every device that is out there. And if we are able to do that, we will have advanced some part of the story related to everything that you look at holistically, right? So with that, I thought I'll just capture in one slide, in some ways, a lot of learnings and hard work over the last couple of years in terms of, what are the challenges, right? And this applies a lot to a lot of IoT solutions in general, okay? But, especially in the context of smart cities or, trying to create these kinds of large infrastructures, these are problems that we all go through. And as you can also think of it as a checklist, in the sense that if as and when you're developing an IoT solution, do you have an answer to every problem faced and spoken of in each one of these boxes, right? If you're ticking most of these reasonably well, your solution, at least is going to, deal with a lot of the problems you will otherwise be hit up once you go and launch on the world, right? So that's really how I look at it. So first and foremost, we are a platform company. We work, both in terms of on-premise and cloud infrastructures. We have a product version that kind of works on both sides. And the first thing that we really, need to get a handle on is what is the nature of the data, what is the volume of the data, what is the hardware requirement required to actually build something end-to-end. You will be surprised how often all of this gets underestimated, right, when you actually go out there. And we have been there, done that several times over. So, wanted to highlight that upfront, because that is the first thing that, will set you ahead on your journey, right, if you get a good handle on this. Second, this gets under emphasized a little bit, right? You are dealing with unstructured data. you are going to have to do analytics on unstructured data. You're going to have to do things like Elasticsearch, right? You are building a platform or products, ideally, right? And I'll be very surprised if that is not the case. You don't know all the applications of the data you're collecting right now, right? So you want to have a way in which you're going to basically plug and play sensor networks on one side and applications on the other. And what are you doing for that? And part of that, and when you talk of an N by N kind of a situation and mashup applications and all of that, advanced analytical skills is something that, is definitely a big plus if you have a good handle of that. This is something that everybody talks about, so at least thankfully, this has been brought out there. Not that I can imagine that, everybody has a unique solution to it, but security and risk is something that you need to manage, right? So are you ensuring that you have an always-on system, for example, like what we have? How are you sure that the device that is sending you data is actually authenticated to send you data? It is not a spurious device, it has not been compromised in some way, and that data has reached you without somebody else snooping on it, right? So I'm just giving you one aspect of it, right? And how do you answer this succinctly? Are you doing HTTPS, whatever it is that you're trying to do, right? So have some thought put behind it. And the reason I'm saying is, as practitioners, we are just going to go out there and build stuff, right? We are going to win business, we're going to get solutions up and running. But the part of IoT that makes it a little different is that these solutions are going to live forever, right? You are going to be called to fix this problem sometime or the other, and it is far more expensive to fix it later on, right? So security and risk, right? Next, network topology. Okay, let's start with evolved IT infrastructure, right? Again, when we talk a smart city, what we found, especially in the township and things like that, right? If you're doing something, which is completely new, right? At least you have the benefit of building a new data infrastructure and all of that, right? And application infrastructure along with that. But if you don't have that benefit, right? Say, for example, metering. You have the world today, and there are better experts here in the audience around it. By and large, their version of connectivity is about, putting the data out on an FTP server. Okay, that is the connected definition of it. It's not an IoT device or thing, right? It is basically tuned to export data onto an FTP server, right? Now, if you want to talk to that infrastructure, going back to the point that Dr. Narendra made, you can't just go and say replace all of this, right? You have to find a way in which you are going to say, okay, I need to get the same level of scalability. I need to do this working with this infrastructure. So you're going to have to build these million adapters. There is no other way around it in some cases till the standards come about. And of course, standards are something that a lot of us don't wait for. So, I wanted to build this part. How are you going to build this? And when you build products and solutions, again, this is important because you build a product that works with a particular type of mechanism, and this is not device, right? This goes way beyond that. The device sends data in a particular way to a particular spot, and you're going to pick that from there, right? And now if there could be 10 different ways in which 10 different kinds of these devices actually do that, right? So you need to find ways in which you quickly deploy. The quick, easy wins will not happen unless you have thought through a lot of these things ahead of time, right? Next, this is a classical case where you're going to deal with integration with a lot of enterprise kind of applications and operational systems, as you call it, right? We come from our roots in the manufacturing world where there is this term called IT, OT integration and all that. In the context of a smart city, really, that is to do with the facts that kinds of things that CP was talking about, right? You need to be able to talk to whatever application infrastructure that a police has put in place to be able to accept that API, right? So, and that could be very diverse by itself, and you can't uproot those application systems because you have this new device out there, right? So you have to basically find a way in which you send that data and make that integration layer happen, right? Finally, to do with legacy and privacy frameworks, okay? Again, I'm separating this from security, okay? The reason I'm doing that, for example, is you will have different data sets which are legally allowed to be shared in different ways with different providers and organizations. How are you going to handle that? How are you looking at that, right? So for example, I'll give you, it's easier to explain maybe in the manufacturing context, so I'll do that. Let's say there's an automotive major, right? And he has 1,000 suppliers, right? Now we are working on IoT kind of solutions wherein that major supplier has visibility into the production that is happening from the machines in his suppliers directly, right? That is the solution that we kind of provide. Now, who has ownership on that data? Is it really, where do you draw the line? How are you providing the framework so that these policies can be implemented, right? Because, for example, today the situation is very diverse, right? Real world is always a lot more complex. You have part of this equipment may actually have been purchased by the parent company, okay? Then you are going to say, okay, in this type of equipment, I am allowed to go deeper, and the other kind of equipment, all I'm going to get is aggregated sums and things like that, right? So this is a very interesting kind of paradigm, right? Because you have to look at this and think of this ahead of time in terms of how you do it. And finally, this is something again that gets discussed a lot already, network topology, which even Dr. Narendra mentioned. You're going to deal with all kinds of diverse any solution, right? You're going to deal with Wi-Fi, Ethernet, Zigbee, whatever. And it's very rare that you will be on one homogeneous kind of network infrastructure. That has severe toll on your quality of service, right? And you have to be able to build your applications and solutions that are resilient to basically deal with these network topology. You're assuming not a partially connected, but a least connected world when you build these types of things. And I'm not kidding. You would find in smart city, even good smart city infrastructures, and there are metering experts here already, that find connectivity once in 10 days. Okay, on a cell phone for all the 99.5%. I know we have a sponsor from here, but the point is that you are building for that kind of situation where if your device is not talking to anything for a month, right, and then it has the ability to kind of talk to it, it is able to send all the data over at that point of time, right? So these are really the challenges, and I thought I'll spend a little bit time in kind of sharing these experiences. Happy to talk about them in more detail as relevant. I'll leave you with just one more thought, really, and essentially that is why we built Datonis, a small plug for us, right? We kind of work with, we built a platform that kind of has the ability to deal with some of these questions, or pretty much most of these questions. So I thought I'll leave because there is a lot of talk about standards, right, and how these can evolve. And I just thought I'll leave you with one, just our thought process around how standards should evolve, at least, right? Because you have all these, we heard about 32.170, and there is this 15 different verticals in which people are building standards, and they are vital, right? But let's look at it, I think, based on what goals they achieve or what applications they enable, right? Because IoT infrastructures by themselves are going to basically translate from being monitoring systems to diagnose and control type of systems to manage kind of infrastructure type of systems to the predictive optimizations and analytics driven applications, right? That's how the sector is going to evolve. I'm sure a lot of you have already read the papers around these types of things. So now when we look at that, right, it is at least my humble suggestion that we should look at this roadmap and keep the standards lockstep or accelerate those that actually have chance of adoption. So for example, we should try our level best to ensure that any data asset, right, that is yielding itself to a monitoring application is the first thing that we should look at unlocking and ensuring, because that is the easiest to standardize and the easiest to adopt also, right? And when you go to the most esoteric ones around, complex predictive analytics and, trying to estimate demand across, power and all that, looking at, the little bit more analytical driven applications, or where there is a lot more that the software is doing, around churning that data. What I've found is, then you will have to deal with 7 or 8 different systems to churn those dashboards. Automatically, the probability of that application seeing the real world is, that much more elongated. So, and I get a sense just from the way the standards bodies are evolving, and I don't refer to MQTT at all, I'm talking of the rest of the stuff that we heard, right? Because that was needed like 5 years ago, ideally. So, the point is that, we are trying to over-engineer some of these aspects, right? And it probably makes more sense to look at the application layer, what can we enable now, what can help companies like us survive and thrive, and the bigger companies always thrive, have an ability to do that better. So kind of focus on that, and work a roadmap for these standards that are more in line with what the deployment cycle is going to look like, before trying to solve every nook and corner of how these standards are going to evolve. So with that, I wrap, and happy to talk to you guys anytime. Do reach out to me. We are also looking for partners and partnerships, and it's been very useful talking to all of you. Pleasure. Thank you for having me here.